right, so for now what we're going to do is deal with the pagination here so that you can easily click next and back to deal with this. So the first thing is, as you can see, this button is disabled, so we have to go to the index.php. Oh, there we go, this is the one right here. So the button at the beginning, the previous button, is disabled, so I'm going to remove this disable class right there. So let me refresh that, and now it's clickable. The only thing is now we have to give it somewhere to go, right? So let's remove all this JavaScript 0. It makes it not go anywhere. So let's do that. Great. Now we're going to supply some information here instead. So let me save this, refresh. Okay, so now everything is clickable here, which is very good. Next page, previous page, boom. Okay, this is great. So now what we want to do is create links for this, and then they have to react here. So the first thing I will do is, first of all, I will go up here and put a question mark and say page is equal to 2. Okay, so now I've put page is equal to 2. I want the database to respond to that variable right there. Okay, so now to do this, let me go where we are actually reading the data from, and this is the model load images, right? This is where it's all happening. So right here I can get the get variable just to make sure that it's being used here. Now in order to edit the query to accept pagination, you need two things. The first thing you need is to know the limit. So here we have a limit of 12 right there. So instead of hard coding it here, we can do it here. We can say limit is equal to 12, right? So that now we can just use, instead of 12, we can use the variable limit like that. So limit. So we can just change it once here and it will change for both. And then there's a second one, which is the offset. Okay. Now what offset does is offset, let's say for example you are retrieving, let's say you have 20 items in the database, you have 20 of them, and then you retrieve the first 10, right? So you have from 1 item to 10, but now you want to retrieve the other 10 to 20. So offset is the one that tells the database where to start from. So in this case, offset is always at 0 when you are reading from the beginning to the end. But then if you want to start from 10, then the offset will be at 10, and then you tell it to limit 10, which it will get from 10 to 20. Anyway, if it doesn't make sense, do not worry, it will still work. So what we're going to do is offset. I created my own formula here. Offset is going to be equal to the page number. We will need a page number. Page number minus 1, and then multiply this by the limit. So let's imagine for a moment we have a limit of 10, just for easy calculation, right? So we get the first 10 records, but then we go to page 2. Okay, now on page 2, so since this is 2, it's going to be 2 minus 1, which is going to be 1, and then 1 times limit, which is times 10, so which is going to be 10. So the offset will be at 10, so which means it will start reading at 10, and then it will read 10 records from there. But if we are on page 1, it's going to be 1 minus 1, which is 0. Any number by 0 is 0, so the offset will remain at 0. So this is the formula right here. So let me get this offset here and put it in here and say offset always comes last. So limit, and then offset, whatever the offset is at the time. Now the only thing is I need to know the page number. Okay, so I can do this by using the get variable quite easily. So say page number is equal to, so we're going to say get page, okay, whatever the value of page is. So sometimes it might not be set, so we will say if is set, okay, page number, then page number will be equal to page, or else it's going to be 1, like that. So it's either going to be page 1 or whatever page is here. Now we will put an if statement here again and say if the page number is less than 0 or is less than 1, if page number less than 1, so if it's less than 1, then page number is going to be 1, else it's just going to be equal to page number. This is to make sure that if somebody tries page -10, it's not going to work. Okay, there we go. So, and then of course we have to parse it as int, because sometimes people will put they'll manipulate that. So to avoid being hacked, so here we're going to say we're going to parse it as an integer, like that. So whatever it is, it's going to be read as a number. Great. Okay, so as of now this is working. So if I go here and now refresh the page, you see that I have nothing here, right? But let's try and reduce the limit to 2. Let's say the maximum we can give it is 2. So let's refresh. So on page 1, this is page 2 now. So let me go to page 1. There we go, that's page 1. And then let's go to page 3. There we go, page 3. So it's actually working already right here. So let me put it at 12 there. So page 3 means there's nothing unless we are on page 1 where everything is. Okay, so I think the limit, let me put it at 16 there. Limit 16. Okay, so the only thing now we need to do is to be able to click the button next and previous and then manipulate that in the process. Okay, so we can create a pagination class just to simplify things. So let me go, actually don't need this anymore. So let me go in the models and create new. So let's create one class pagination. Pagination.php. So the advantage of this MVC system is that these things you're creating here can be reused over and over. So once you make this pagination here, you can use it in another project and so on with the same structure here. So your job will become less and less cumbersome the more you create. So pagination right here will require a few things. So first of all, we'll create some functions. So the first function will be to get the current page number. Okay, so page underscore number. So I think I'll just say current, just so you can remember in future. Sorry there. Like so, and duplicate it. So the second one will be current current URL, the complete URL. So the current page number, current URL, and then this one, generate link. So when we are given a page number, so there will be a number here, we have to generate a link to that particular page, right? And then here, current URL, we want to just return the current URL, and the current page number, just the current page number. So these will be pretty simple here. And so I think what I would do is I'm going to say this is probably supposed to be private. So I'm going to say private URL I wanted to say it's equal to get like this, but I think this is not allowed. So instead we're going to create a constructor. So I'm going to say public function construct like this, and then we can set this to whatever it is here. So at this point you can say URL is equal to empty string. Then I'll say this URL is equal to get, like that. So once we construct it, we'll get whatever is in the get and put it there. So let me get this URL here. So if you remember correctly, in the get we have this section right here, so we can get this section and get that section and concatenate to get a current URL. So get current page number, this one is simple. What we're going to do is return an integer. Ooh, wait a minute, let's put an if statement here first. Page is equal to if this is set URL page, right? Then the page number will be this. Don't forget the int. Otherwise it'll be 1. Okay, so that's the current page number. So actually I could have just said return this. I'll just say return page. All right, so that's the page number right there. And then let's get the current URL. So if it's set let's look for URL here. So if it is not set, to be set to an empty string like that. So URL. So this is the first part here, like this index here before the page. Now this page is going to be contained in the rest of the other variables here. So what we'll do is, to create the current URL, we're going to concatenate and say for each so I might as well just do this here. If it's set again and is array, oops, oh, if this is set, actually I don't need to do this. Get is always set, so all I need to do is say for each. Okay, as key and value, so I need both of those. So I want to add to this. So let me put num is equal to 0. This way I can know that this is the first time around that this is passing through the loop. And then let me say num plus plus, like so, to increment as we go. So I'll say if num is equal to 0, which means this is the first time we're passing through this loop. So I'm going to say URL concatenate a question mark so that we can create a query string on the other side. Okay, so we do that. Else it's the other times, so we are simply going to add, okay, num is equal to 0. Okay, so here we're going to add, actually I don't need the else statement, it's just should be like this. Okay, so we'll add that query string. So here what we will do is we'll concatenate the key and concatenate the value, but not before we put an equal sign there, and then the value, like so. So this should be the current URL. So return URL, but with the root. URL, like so. Okay, so this is the current URL. So let's confirm that this is actually correct, what I'm doing here. So current URL, current page number. So first of all, let's get current page number. So to do this, we have to go to here. I'll put these guys here. So let me try the pagination over here. Pagination. So let me load the pagination class. Pagination. Okay, so I'll just say page is equal to for short, so pagination there. So now what I want to do is just to echo out something. So I'm going to echo the current page number, right? So let's come here, we'll start small. So if I go to my thing here, refresh, code line defined function current page number. Oh, sorry, I forgot to do this. Okay, so that's 1. So let me change this to 8, for example. And it's not changing. Okay, so we have a problem right there. So let me come back here. Current page number. Oh, I did not capture this here, so I am supposed to put it there, like so. Okay, so I'm going to do this here. Actually, I don't need to do this. I can be doing this in everything I do here. So wherever I'm referencing URL, this URL except this one. This one was the wrong one. Or was it? Yeah, even here it was the wrong one. This is just a variable. So current, here we go, into this URL. Okay, great. So let's try again, refresh, and we get an 8. So everything is working there. Then let me come back here, and instead of get current, I just want to know the current URL right now. So let's come back here, current URL, refresh, and there we go. So this is the current URL, public, what's with the 0, catalog URL is equal to index page is equal to 8. So wrong timing here. Index question mark. So the question mark should be here. So where is the 0 coming from? So let me come, we're almost there here. Pagination, where is this? Num is equal to 0. So it's an empty string. Okay, first of all, let's go step by step. Let me just echo this here. Well, let me just say return URL right there so that we see what's happening. So refresh. So it's 0. So this is where the problem starts from. So URL if is set so integer. Okay, so this is where the problem is. I should remove that int. Okay, I think that sorts the problem out. Let me try this, refresh. Okay, so public index, and then there's URL is equal to. Okay, so I know what to do here, and that's because if this is 0, we'll add that. And then we need another if statement. If this is the one, the get here directly. So why do I even need this? Trying to avoid using get variables directly in here. Okay, so this URL. So what I want to know is if key is equal to URL, which is this one here, URL is equal to index. So if key is equal to URL, we have to tell it to continue. So we'll say continue like that. So what continue does, it means just continue with the loop, don't come down here, just continue over there. Okay, now if you have continues in here and there's a number you're incrementing here, it's going to cause problems. So let me put the number I'm incrementing at the very top like that, and then change this to 1, because once it starts at 0 it will be 1 here. So if 1, that's that. So this should work. So now you see that URL is the same as this URL right there. So let me try and add some more stuff here. I'm just going to say and h is equal to fire. Let's see if it will capture that. Okay, so it doesn't put an and here, so when it actually should. So let's see here, once I put this, okay, so I need to have an and here. So if it's the first time, there we go. Okay, so what I could do is just put an and here, this there, and then let's put an and here and %, like so. And then what we'll do, if this is the first time, we'll let it continue here as well. Okay, continue, so it doesn't come to this part, but we'll still need to concatenate whatever it is that is there before we release it. So we'll say URL and, but we won't put that there. Or actually, I can just put the question mark here, then remove this. So this should sort out the problem. Fresh, there we go, and h is equal to whatever it is. So now we have a current URL, which is great. Now we can generate a link using a page number. Okay,